Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're going to explore a coin that may not be in circulation anymore, but it still holds a special place in the memories of many Australians, the 1980 Australian 2-cent coin. In circulated condition, this coin carries the marks and wear of time, but beneath the scratches and softened edges, it tells us a fascinating story about Australia's coinage history and national identity. The 2-cent coin's background. The Australian 2-cent coin was first introduced in 1966, when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. For over 2 decades, it was a part of daily life, used constantly for small purchases and change. By 1980, the coin was already well established in circulation, with millions being struck each year by the Royal Australian Mint. It was a tiny coin in terms of value, but it played a big role in the everyday economy of the time. Obverse design. On the obverse, or front side, we see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. In 1980, the effigy was designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor whose work appeared on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a familiar and elegant representation that became iconic across Commonwealth coinage. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions Elizabeth II and Australia 1980, grounding the coin in both time and place. Reverse design. The reverse of the 2-cent coin features one of the most distinctive designs in Australian numismatics, the frilled neck lizard, an extraordinary reptile native to northern Australia. Designed by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith to the Queen, this bold image shows the lizard with its dramatic frill spread wide, an unmistakable symbol of Australia's unique wildlife. For many Australians, this design is nostalgic, as the frilled lizard 2-cent piece was a common sight in wallets and coin jars for decades. Coin specifications. The 1982 cent coin was struck in bronze, composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It weighs 5.2 grams and measures 21.6 millimeters in diameter. The coin has a smooth edge, giving it a simple yet classic feel. Its warm coppery tone made it stand out in a handful of coins, and over time, the surface would naturally darken, developing the reddish-brown patina that collectors often see today on circulated examples. Circulated condition. In circulated condition, a 1982 cent coin usually shows plenty of evidence of its journey. The Queen's hair and facial details may appear softened from years of handling. The frilled lizard on the reverse often loses its sharpness, with the fine scales and frill lines becoming smoother. Scratches, rim nicks, and small spots of tarnish are common, and the once bright bronze often darkens to a rich brown. These signs of wear make each coin unique, a reflection of its decades of use in Australian daily life. Everyday life in 1980. The year 1980 was an interesting period in Australia's history. The country was experiencing cultural shifts, economic challenges, and new global connections. Everyday Australians, however, relied on coins like the 2-cent piece to carry out ordinary transactions, buying newspapers, lollies, or small essentials at the corner shop. This humble coin was a true workhorse of the Australian currency system, quietly circulating through countless hands in communities across the nation. Withdrawal of the coin. By the early 1990s, however, inflation had reduced the usefulness of the 1 and 2 cent coins. In 1992, both denominations were officially withdrawn from circulation, though they remained legal tender. The 1980 issue, therefore, belongs to the last active decade of the 2-cent coin's life in circulation. Today, finding one in your change is no longer possible, which makes surviving examples, even worn ones, a nostalgic reminder of a different era. Collectability. From a collector's perspective, the 1980 Australian 2-cent coin is considered common, as millions were minted that year. In circulated condition, it usually holds only its face value or a small premium. However, it remains popular among collectors who enjoy building year sets or preserving coins from Australia's pre-1990s era. Error coins, such as off-center strikes or misaligned dies, can be more valuable, but for most, the sentimental and historical appeal is what makes the 1982 cent coin worth keeping. Conclusion. In conclusion, the 1980 Australian 2-cent coin in circulated condition is much more than a piece of bronze change. It represents a chapter in Australia's monetary history, a connection to daily life in the late 20th century, and a design that has become iconic in its own right. The frilled lizard continues to be one of the most memorable coin designs ever issued, and even worn examples from 1980 carry that legacy. So if you happen to come across one in a collection or a coin jar, take a moment to appreciate it, because though it may no longer circulate, it still carries the spirit of Australia's coinage history.